Hello, XPRIZE Foundation. I love you guys. My name is Josh Kraft, and I'm the founder of Clever Zebo. We're an online marketing conversion funnel optimization team. We donated to you guys on behalf of our clients. It was our thank you gift to our clients at the end of last year. We follow you. I love abundance. Peter Diamandis, you're brilliant. And I have a few ideas for what XPRIZE can do, both just from simple, practical A/B testing perspective, but also some bigger vision ideas that I think could really change things. So this is going to take a few minutes. I hope you'll stick with me. If you do, here's what you're going to get. Number one, how XPRIZE can get more donations within an hour. So just some quick testing ideas that if you implement, I bet you we're going to get a higher conversion rate. You'll start getting more donations right away. Number two, a framework for radically widening your donation funnel. So I think there's we can do something to the order. We can change the basic process that's really going to turbocharge getting more people into the funnel. And then third of all, I have a vision for how XPRIZE can use the power of crowdsourcing and really accelerate innovation. I know you guys are already doing a tremendous amount of stuff there. It's like, oh my God, the height of egotism that Josh Crafton has that idea. But I'd like to present a framework, and if it's a bad idea, no problem, but just hear me out. Okay, good. Let's get to your site. So originally this was going to be my final recommendation, but I've learned from an expert speech coaching organization that it's often good to start with your conclusion. So I think it's really interesting, the support our work box. And I know this probably gets to the core of a lot of what your process and funnel is, but I'd like to propose an alternative funnel. It starts with, you have this concept of donate, which, I guess that makes sense, but I really wonder, is there a way that we could test that concept versus the concept of fund? Right now, my sense of XPRIZE is that it's very much driven by the geniuses, the large companies, the wealthy people, the people who supposedly know something about what's going on. And then when we get deeper into the actual prizes, then we start seeing the teams and have that conversation. But at a high level, the XPRIZE brand, it's kind of inaccessible. I'll get to in a second what I mean by that. And I hope there's I don't mean to offend. I'm just trying to go through my logic process. What if, though, we were to shift this donate concept to a fund concept, and that really anyone could be part of funding? I remember Peter Diamandis, you had a talk on Reddit, and one of my questions was, well, does XPRIZE have any plans to use Kickstarter model or a partnership there to fund prizes? And you said yes. It made me so happy. And that's why I feel pretty confident in saying, I think we should try testing a different message, where rather than just donate, they're actually contributing to funding an individual prize. Literally, we could have calls to action on all of these prizes, both the ones that are these are awarded. So the ones that are in development or the ones that are open. And potentially there are ways that people could interact with prizes that are being developed or in the lab, et cetera, et cetera. I'll get there in a second. Now, the next thing I would do is, so I would actually take, and I know this is crazy because you say, well, shouldn't we always lead with the ask? Shouldn't donate be or fund be number one? I would make it number two. Here's what I think should happen. I think that we should make all of XPRIZE more of a social entity, it's a living, breathing community where really the first thing we want people to do is sign up, to log in with Facebook, log in with Twitter, log in with Google, so that they immediately see their face up top. Now, you can probably see 10 steps ahead. Where I want to go with this is ultimately that we're going to be creating community and conversation and voting and crowdfunding all on this platform. We'll probably be integrating partners. I highly recommend that you do that through partner integration because there's a lot of benefit that could come from community crossover. But the first thing I would do is a sign up. Now, I want to, one of my first clients who ended up being an enormous success story. I'm not going to name any names, just it's easier that way. If you want, you can give me a call and I'll tell you. But the biggest thing we did was we just radically improved the conversion rate. Do you know how we did that? We widened the funnel. In the old days, they were asking for name, first name, last name, email address, phone number, address, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. After a lot of testing, we basically just said, give us your email address. Now, a lot of other companies have found this to be true, and you'll see in early on Facebook login, et cetera, et cetera. But I really think the first thing we want people to do is to log in, be a part of this. Let's try to get 80% of the people who come to the XPRIZE site, 90%. Let's have them either be logged in, give their information, and then things like get newsletter, which I have some ideas on how to test, they become a little less important because now people are in the network and they can manage their own preferences. Third of all, I really think, so you have it, attend an event is currently number 2. My criticism of attend an event is there's only one event. So, it's like, and I can't even, well, I guess I can click here and then I go to the event and I can register now, but it's really not like super easy for me as someone who's just kind of coming along and wants to support your work. I mean, what if I just want to write a check, or what if I just want to ask a question? This doesn't necessarily help me do it. So here's what I would do. I really think the third part of how we support XPRIZE is that we join the conversation. And that means that we're led to, and I'll get there in a second, but for prizes, I think there should be, you already have these, for the prizes that are currently going, we have an entire page and a community area. But what about just for ideas and questions? For example, on Quora, I got really into this concept of, well, how would we get the entire planet, or 75% of global energy on fission by 2025? And the answer is that it's going to be really tough, though it's actually pretty doable. We can get into that discussion later. But what was so interesting is that these remarkably genius people like Ryan Carlisle just started giving me this incredible answer about fission. And so I wonder, why can't we do the same thing for XPRIZE? Why can't we have lots of great ideas? Really open up a forum for anyone to contribute their ideas, what they think. I mean, there should be a button, contribute your idea. Have a recommendation for what should be a prize, and then there can be a voting system. I mean, I actually think that a partnership with Quora would be incredible. But just if someone throws an idea up on what should be an XPRIZE or what piece of science should be funded, let people vote it up or down. You don't have to do anything about it. It's not like whoever has the most votes. You can still use your expert committees to do things. But I think that allowing for that conversation, it now makes signing up and coming here a lot more valuable. And I mean, wouldn't you want to hang out in a place where you feel like, oh my God, like I, Josh Crafton, can come to XPRIZE and I can have a really profound impact on what prizes are created and how they're executed. Final thing is that, and I think there should only be 4 points under support our work. The final one is invite a friend. And currently you have this message, share XPRIZE with your friends. It's kind of bland, not going on here much on here. Oh my God, let's lead with the benefits. What are the benefits of sharing XPRIZE? What do you get? What does it do for the world? Talk about the Ansari Prize. Talk about what we're doing with the world's oceans. Talk about the vision. Have a huge video of Peter just saying what he wants people to talk about, how he wants them to be involved, invite people to communicate on things. So I think that it's nice that there's this concept of share XPRIZE with your friends, but I think it could really be implemented more strongly. So the next part of this is I want to look at Quora for a second, what I was talking about in enabling the conversation. And let's go to get involved. Now, when I come to get involved, I have first name, last name, email address, get newsletter, which isn't really a way of getting involved. That's a way of me getting news. By the way, I think we should test some different calls to action. Like, how about rather than get newsletter, join us, or get breakthroughs, or hear from Peter, or hear from XPRIZE, or know what's going on with XPRIZE, or get top breakthroughs. By the way, you don't just have to change it. We can just A/B test. These are all things that can be A/B tested. Half the traffic goes to one version, half the traffic goes to the other. But if we find that there's wording or even like a better button, we might want to do a larger button. We might want to have that, rather than have the gradient of light orange to dark orange. We might just want to have a really nice dark orange, have it be a big button, maybe an exclamation mark. Maybe there could even be a couple of other words under there, which is for latest development. So it could be, sign up, and then in smaller words, for latest developments. But there's so much we can test. What I wanted to say, though, is that I think that get involved, and now I'm repeating myself, but I think there's a possibility here that people can be involved, they can give money, they can just listen to what we're doing, they can obviously participate in the contests, but they can also contribute their ideas and it's this concept that anyone can be a part of XPRIZE and change the mission. The other major comment I have is, you have this beautiful image on the front page here. I love it. I click get involved, and I come to a page that says register today for the XPRIZE Ocean video series. So let's go back to the homepage. Now, become an ocean ambassador. Join us today and help turn the tide on ocean health. And then get involved is sign up for the ocean video series in the XPRIZE newsletter. So I ask myself, well, what is it that you really want me to do here? Do you just want me to read? Do you want me to donate? How awesome would it be if there was a button that just said, fund this prize? Or maybe it's fund the video series, but I think it's really fund this prize. Let's have a huge button, fund this prize. And it could even say any donation amount accepted, or we don't have to, or it could be a big minimum. You could do a $10,000 minimum if we want to be nuts. Probably that doesn't necessarily make sense. I'd love to see that whatever that engine is integrated with Kickstarter, because I think Kickstarter's really done a lot in terms of a giving back model. And then imagine that, yes, there could be the sort of like the gold tier of XPRIZes. And I know Peter mentioned that you guys are starting another website that will allow local community projects to be funded. But for example, I really want to find a way that we can create fusion energy and a space elevator. Want to create a space elevator. So it'd be so neat if there's some mechanism by which I can create my XPRIZE Kickstarter Space Elevator prize. I can then put it up on the XPRIZE site. If there are people who are interested, they can vote it up. I can now share it out to everyone on Facebook, on Twitter, on Pinterest, on Vine, everywhere. And you've now enabled me to do a lot of your outreach and get people involved. And at the end of the day, isn't what we want for people to fund the prizes? Now, I know you also have operational expenses. I know there are other things that need to be donated to, but I think that ends up being semantics. There are ways to word things that might work with, I know you have corporate sponsors, so you might work with them on that. But okay, I'm beating the point to a pulp. I think you get my point there. One other thing on this page is that I think the submit button submit tends to be a pretty weak call to action. So I think if we were just to go and switch the word submit with sign up now, or get the ocean video series, or get the newsletter, or become an ambassador could be the button. But let's try and use really specific buttons. Likewise, on the donate page, I think that donate is a good button. I would love for you to test fund, but I think there are other options also. So let's just A/B test those and see what words work the best. Finally, just want to say that, I love the work you're doing. I think that it's incredibly meaningful for the world. I think that you've totally revolutionized how we think about scientific development. And if I have any point, it's that I think there are ways that we can really invite the public to be a part of thinking about prizes, deciding which are the right ones, and funding them. And all of this technology and all of these communities, they already exist. Just creating a partnership with Quora and Kickstarter would solve the problem right away. I'm Josh Crafton, and it's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you. I hope this has made sense. It's kind of scary talking to the XPRIZE Foundation, and I've now taken up almost 15 minutes of your time. Thank you for your time. If anything here has not been clear, then please reach out to me. I am at Joshua Crafton, or you can tweet at us at CleverZebo, either way. Thank you.